Hi, I'm Ellie, I'm from Russia. I come from Perm city, but I haven't had a permanent home for many years now, as I'm always on the road. By now I've visited 35 regions of Russia out of 85, so 50 more left, and I would like to visit all of them one day. I've been to all the republics of the North Caucasus region except one, Adygea, so it's time to give it a visit. So guys, Adygea is a tiny republic. It's the only republic in Russia located inside of another region, Krasnodar Krai. Such territories are named enclave. The only thing that I know about this place is Adygeyski syr, Adyghe cheese, which is popular everywhere in Russia. In Moscow, in other regions, it's a common product in supermarkets. So at first we will go to cheese market, explore Adyghe traditional dishes made of this cheese. And after that, culture, city, all this stuff. But at first, food. I'm hungry, so... Here it is, the famous Adygeyski syr. It looks a bit like bread, this one, but it's all cheese.
Тетя Саиды берем.
У тети Саиды, спасибо.
Да, со сливой. Это откуда?
It's very, very soft. This is the Adyghe cheese that I'm used to. Почему адыгейский сыр популярен во всей России?
Это брендовский сыр.
Это бренд.
С цельного молочка, свои коровы, натуральные, не порошковый, не заводской, свои коровы. А это у меня булочки, как булочки, красивые, как булочки. Это сулугули, сыр сулугули, который плавится не творожный, не адыгейский, на пепсине, которая плавится. А адыгейский на сыворотке мы делаем.
Очень-очень-очень вкусно у вас.
Спасибо. Откуда?
Я из Перми.
Кто покушает еще в Адыгее, тем более приедет адыгейский сыр, исполнится все желания.
Какой это вообще сыр? Твердый, мягкий?
Есть мягкий. Все виды. Это твердый, это мягкий. Вот твердый сухой есть, мягкий и белый, чисто натуральный вот этот.
This one is smoked Adyghe cheese. I like the smoked one.
Не сильно соленый, вкусный.
The usual. I used to eat this cheese a lot.
Это сушится на солнце. Держите.
А как его едят? Просто
Просто с кофе, с коньячком.
Also really good. В Осетии мне говорят сыр к чаю, а тут говорят к коньяку. Locals didn't leave me hungry and fed me a lot, even when I already left the market.
Могу к вам обратиться? Да. Я просто сижу, некому едьбу съесть. Сейчас я вам это палкой шарах. Ну попробуйте хотя бы.
А что это?
Возьмите. Здесь все теплое, все хорошее.
Это адыгская кухня, да?
Ну я черт его знаю.
А где вы это взяли?
Купил. Девушка, вы голодны?
Perhaps I could stay with this local man and eat the food he offered to me. But I decided to go to a proper restaurant to try traditional Adyghe dishes.
Традиционный национальный стол Ана символизирует, значит, единство за столом, поэтому он круглый и маленький такого размера, потому что он служил как подносом, когда выносили в кунацкое угощение. Вот, его накрывали и накрытым уже приносили, ставили гостям. То, что он низкий, это значит сделано для того, чтобы человек, сидя за столом, сидел с чуть-чуть поджатыми коленями. В таком случае человек не опирается на стол, не ложится на него, сидит за ним ровно. Вот, и мозг своевременно получает информацию о том, что человек насытился и не переедает, сидя за таким столом. Это первое. И второе, сидя с поджатыми ногами на маленькой табуреточке долго не посидишь. И получается, прием пищи не превращался в застолье. Люди садились, кушали, вставали, уходили.
Wow, a very traditional Adyghe lunch here. Adygea flag behind me even. When you are in Adyghe, you need to try khalush. This looks like another Russian dish named чебурек, but it's not. It's khalush and it's made with Adyghe cheese. Next, traditional Adyghe soup named ashray. Такой наваристый. This traditional milk soup is made of beans, corn, wheat, onion and paprika. Overall, red beans and corn are core ingredients in Adyghe cuisine. Bakhsime, drink made of corn flour. This reminds me a lot of kvass. Kvass is a fermented drink made of rye bread, and seems like this is the same thing but made of corn. And Adyghe sweet haliu, made of millet and sugar. We have a sweet named halva, and this is Adyghe type of it, but the consistency is very different. It's much softer, but I like it. I have to mention how surprised I was by the richness and diversity of local cuisine, even though it's such a small region. Actually, it became one of my most favorite cuisines in the North Caucasus, and I could eat more and more of it. But it's time to explore the capital of Adygea city, Maykop. Until 16th century, Adyghe people used to be Christian. But in 17th century, Turks conquered all the lands around the Black Sea, and the Muslim culture started to penetrate all these lands. So by the beginning of 19th century, the absolute majority of Adyghe people began to follow Islam. And in the center of the city, you can see this huge mosque, but overall here you don't feel the influence of Muslim culture. Meanwhile, in the republics of Ingushetia, Chechnya, Dagestan, you feel its strong influence. Here, not really, I guess, because 60% of the population here are Russians, minorities are Armenian and Ukrainian, and 25% of the population only are Adyghe, indigenous Circassian people. I met a local Adyghe here. What is your name, you said?
Inal.
Where did you learn English? You speak very good.
I learned English in Saudi Arabia. I was studying there.
That's very cool.
In school.
And you also speak Adyghe language?
Circassian, yes.
Circassian language.
Yeah.
How often do people use Adyghe language in this republic? More often they use Russian or Adyghe?
Depends on family tradition inside the family.
Okay.
But often they study it in schools, they speak it in their villages and in their friends.
At schools, people learn Adyghe language here. Yeah,
Yeah, it was more stronger
Before?
years before, yeah. Now every republic must finance her language.
Also, as I'm not from the Caucasus, I'm a bit confused. What's the difference between Adyghe people and Circassian people? Is there any difference?
No difference.
No difference.
No difference. Because the word of Adyghe is self-name between each others. They call it Adyghe. The other people, the other nations called us Circassians. All the Circassians like Circassians, and you know only Republic of Adyghe and Maykop, this is the capital city, like Adygea.
So Adyghe and Circassian people is the same.
The same.
And what about the language? Adyghe language, Circassian language also the same?
The same, but they have different, little difference between like dialects. Some letters, somewhere more or two together to be a one. The only relative language to us, to the Circassian language, is Abkhazia.
Why do you like to live here?
I've been many places, but here it's calm and cool. The weather is good.
Indeed, the weather is good here. As a person that comes from the north of Russia, at this time of the year I'm used to have cold and snow. And here I could walk in the sun all day long, so let's continue walking in the city. We are on the main street, улица Краснооктябрьская. Literally, it's translated as the street of Red October. It's named so after the revolution of 1917, which happened in October. While I was walking in this street, look what I found. Mona Lisa, Maykop edition. How cute. She has an Adyghe flag and Caucasus mountains on the background. I found out that the artist Adyghe painted this after he learned the news that the mother of Leonardo da Vinci was Circassian, and it's not his fantasies, it's news from Italy. So it might be that Leonardo is half Caucasian. Caucasian. By the way, the Circassian Mona Lisa wasn't the only curious thing that I found that day. It turns out that here in Adygea there is the only one in Russia museum of hemp. The first association with hemp is probably drugs, illegal stuff, but actually during Soviet times hemp growing and processing was very crucial for Adygea's economy. They made materials. This is the material made of hemp, ropes, cables. It was used a lot in shipbuilding, even airplane building. It was huge until 80s, when there was a conspiracy against hemp and they started to talk about its bad effects and drug effects. So it lost its reputation, but now they are building hemp's reputation again. So I met Margarita, and basically she's the only in Russia guide in the museum of hemp. То есть вы единственный человек в России с такой профессией.
Ну, скажем, не единственный, у нас есть еще сотрудники, но наш музей на сегодняшний день является и первым, и единственным в России музеем конопли.
А почему вы вообще решили открыть этот музей?
У нас территориально есть для этого определенный повод. У нас в республике находится перерабатывающее предприятие конопли, и сегодня эта тема становится более актуальна, чем раньше.
А вот конопля, она, первая ассоциация идет с какими-то наркотическими веществами и так далее. Сюда не наведывалась полиция все проверить?
Ну, я думаю, что такие нюансы у нас были утрясены еще заранее, но поскольку речь у нас на экскурсиях идет о технической конопле, она содержит менее 0,1% тетрагидроканнабинола, того самого вещества, которое вызывает наркотический эффект. Поэтому мы совершенно с полным правом можем рассказывать о конопле и других ее полезных свойствах, помимо того, что вы уже упомянули.
А какой вообще сейчас закон в России? Можно выращивать коноплю? Как это вообще все?
Есть определенные требования для организаций, которые хотят этим заниматься. Выращивать можно, для этого нужно завести юридическое лицо, нужно задекларировать себя как фермерское хозяйство именно с направлением выращивания конопли. Для определенных целей это может быть волокно, это может быть семена. И закупать посевной материал требуется строго у селекционных центров.
Here we have two bases for materials: linen and hemp. Linen, one is more soft, I would say, and hemp, it's very, very solid and you can't tear it. Look how solid it is. Also, it doesn't lose its property when with contact with water and less susceptible to water, so there is lots of advantages of this material. Not far from this museum, there is a Soviet factory, Maykopskaya, which produces ropes and cables made of hemp. this factory. Here you can see some documents, Soviet documents from this factory. Also, they gave this museum the ropes that they produce out of hemp. And during Soviet times, it was very respectable and honorable to work on this factory with hemp. And they even used to give these rewards. Мастерству коноплеводства, master of hemp producing. So it was very respectable. In ancient Russia, before they started this conspiracy against hemp, it was also used a lot like food. Hemp oil, hemp flour, and Margarita told me an interesting thing about this flour.
Из муки конопляной могли изготавливать, разбавляя молоком или водой, конопляное молоко, которое по своему составу было практически по питательности равно материнскому молоку, в том числе по содержанию необходимых витаминов, и использовали для кормления младенцев. Сейчас уже есть некий прирост посевных площадей, пока что только 2% от мирового рынка мы выращиваем, но прирост идет, потому что есть государственная поддержка. И в целом это очень богатая разными свойствами культура, и все больше людей хочет возвращаться к здоровому, к экологичному образу жизни, потому что по сравнению там с другими позициями конопля еще и экологичнее. Она всего 120 дней растет, дает в больших объемах и меньше затрачивает воды и прочих ресурсов.
And here you can even try seeds of hemp. I don't know, it smells like some grass. And now we try the taste. Very crunchy. The taste is like some seeds, not sunflower seeds, kind of sesame, and very oily. And hemp tea. They say that it's super good for your health and stops many diseases. Hemp seeds and hemp tea. But of course, they won't have any drug effect on me. Sometimes when I make videos and I really want to get some shot and to make some particular video, events appear by themselves, call it luck, anything, but I really wanted to show you Adyghe dance because they have very beautiful costumes, such a famous Caucasus dance. And I even tried to enroll in one dance school to find the guys who dance or maybe learn some moves with them. I called many schools, but I couldn't find anything in the city. But I remembered that today is November 4th. And it's a big public holiday in Russia, День народного единства, Day of Unity. As you might know, in Russia we have more than 190 ethnic groups, and today is the day of the unity of all these groups. And in every republic there are some events connected to the republic's culture. And here on the square of friendship, the concert is about to start, and I already saw a big dance group there. Magic! Let's go and see that concert.
بوش حمتتي ششكم كغزرقا وبشري كم زرعت وش كجغي شقراز بشمی واسری چاپ چشی سلامین زواسا سبشری هوا جم هر دیگری سلامین زواسا سبشری هوا جم هر دیگری
The most beautiful places are usually located outside of the city, and the Caucasus nature especially has a lot to offer. So let's see the Adyghe part of it. One of the most famous natural landmarks in Adygea is Plateau Laganaki. But the first thing that surprised me isn't gorgeous views from here, but a very, very strong wind, and the sound of this wind is just ooh, 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 ooh. You hear this? There is a cliff there, and I'm a bit afraid that I can fall there if the wind changes its direction suddenly, because it's so strong. Just listen to the wind. There is a legend why this plateau is named Laganaki. They say that there was a shepherd named Lago, and one day he fell in love with the daughter of the Tsar named Naki. But she had to marry another guy, so they decided to escape from her father, and they escaped in the mountains, but they were chased. But when they realized that people of her father were catching them up, they decided to hug each other and jump from the cliff, and their love was so strong that they didn't die. So guys, love each other as much as Lago and Naki, even though this story is just probably not true. It's time for me to leave the North Caucasus, as I finally visited all the republics here, but I'm sure I will be back here to explore more. Before I came here, I haven't heard much about Adygea, and it's not a popular choice for tourists. But as my travel experiences proved many times, I will dare say that no places in this world are boring. You may just haven't made a proper research about them, but if you do, you will always find things and people that will surprise you and stay in your memory forever.